Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX. We're a full service CX and UX consulting firm. Check us out if you have a spare minute. And welcome to episode, I think it's 144. I hope I've numbered these correctly. This is 2022 Trends and Predictions. And we had rescheduled this to accommodate Ben Smithwell, who told us about an hour and a half ago he can't make today either. Broken heart. However, we're still thrilled to have Stéphanie Walter joining us today, and I'll be bringing her in just a moment. Of course, as always, I like to thank everybody who's been donating financially to the channel because it is completely optional, but always appreciated. I reinvested in the channel, and I buy delicious chocolate chips, which today I turned into a hot chocolate. So thank you, everybody. What else was I going to say? Oh, yes. On a quick personal note, I wanted to say that today I had my mammogram, and that is to remind all of you to please get checked for whatever cancer is relative to whatever your personal body parts might be. So, you know, whatever sort of cancers people might get checked for, if it is safe for you to go out, and if you have affordable health care, please remember to get checked as often as the doctor recommends. I'm fine. I have no risk factors, but it's still important to check. So quick personal note there. Keep checking. You want to know early. Okay. Hello, Alpha. Whoever Alpha is. So let's bring in Stéphanie and hello, Madalena. Oh, Madalena, you should be a guest. How did we not think of that? Madalena, do you want to be a last minute guest? We're looking for live snark. Should we bring you in? Meanwhile, while we do that, Stéphanie, introduce yourself and let everyone know how we can follow you and find you.
So hi everyone, I'm Stéphanie Walter. It's spelled Stephanie and Walter Walter. I'm a UX researcher and designer. I'm based in Luxembourg. I live and work there. And yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on my website, stephaniewalter.design. And yeah, Madeleine, come on, join.
Yes. Pierre Mario says, Madalena live +1. I've sent her a message on our Slack. If she wants to be live on the show with that lovely face, I'll send her an invite. Hi, Abby. Okay, so we should jump right in and remind everybody that last January 2021, we had Stéphanie and Ben on, and we made fun of things people were predicting for 2021. I meant to go back and watch that show to see if any of those came true. I remember one company was predicting the end of UX. I certainly think Jared Spool is trying to hasten that, but it looks like it hasn't happened yet. But we're going to take a look at 2022 trends. So I'm going to share my screen and flip over. Okay, this should show, let's just check. Yes, this should be me, the tip jar, the chat room, Stéphanie, and my screen. And so we're going to go through a couple of different things that Stéphanie and I dug up over the past few months. And and so you don't have to look at the screen. We're going to talk about them. But let's start with this one. This is a UX Collective article that says 5 UX principles for 2022. And the first one is digital sustainability. Stéphanie, do you have any thoughts or opinions on digital sustainability?
I like the idea of going green. I don't have that many experience in the topic. My company had a few webinars that I attended, so I was like, oh, it's actually a complicated topic. So there's a lot of small things that we can do at, in this kind of idea of if everyone does a small little thing, maybe it will get better at some point. So yeah, I would say it could be interesting. Maybe. I don't know if it's a trend, but if we could make kind of more green website and things that doesn't kill the planet whenever we build something, that could be nice. Yes. So yes, please. I don't know just how much of this is greenwashing, though. So this is
Right.
what the speaker was saying is like, all of those carbon footprint compensation and stuff. A lot of the things that you see online is mostly just greenwashing. So you have to be really, really careful when you kind of start digging into those topics, because as it's trendy, a lot of websites put it like hosting companies, for instance. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change a lot.
Yeah, and I remember a guy
So
on LinkedIn bitched me out about 2 years ago. We got into a private message fight because he was Mr. Digital Sustainability and he was fighting. Oh, I remember he had posted something saying you shouldn't put embedded fonts on your website because people will have to download these 20K fonts or 200K fonts, and that was killing the environment. And I was like, well, in that case, every image we put on a website is killing the environment, and
mm,
every wacky message you send me is killing the environment. And he didn't have an answer for that. So I think
yeah.
if you want to, if you think that every kilobyte that people download is working against sustainability, then you have to have more stripped down websites that use Times New Roman and no videos and pictures.
Mm. But one argument, I think it was in French, the contrast that I loved because it's going towards the direction of UX design, was to say, but at some point, what isn't bad for the environment, not building a feature that is not going to be used. I was like,
Ooh,
yes, I love that.
I
Let's use
like
the
that.
green argument to also make the websites better. I was like, yeah. So I think there's kind of this area where UX design and product design and also like this whole, I don't want to call this trend, but this whole area of expertise around making things more sustainable. I was like, yes, this totally makes sense. Like, imagine how many hours of development, hosting, and all of that for a feature if nobody is going to use it. So I'm like, yes, this argument makes sense to me.
I
Like,
love
don't
that.
build something, it's still kind of so. Yeah, I think there's a lot of bullshit in this area, but there's also a lot of interesting information. So
Yeah, worth the
it's worth, I
conversation.
think, yeah, checking it
So
out.
principle
Definitely.
two, and we've seen this in a couple of the articles you and I have poked around, Stephanie. People are acting like
Mm,
accessibility is a hot trend for 2022, inclusivity and accessibility. And every time I see that, I just want to punch somebody in the face, even though I'm a pacifist, because that shouldn't be a trend or something that's hot. That should just be normal.
like, yeah, it's oh, I think it's the other way around. Is like, why do we need accessibility and inclusive design? Is because by default we build things with barriers around it. So that's kind of the main purpose. If you try to think how to build something with less barrier and ways for different people in different situations to access it, then yeah, inclusive design should be kind of the default. But it's the same for accessibility, and we've been fighting for years to say it's less costly and easier if you start building the website with accessibility in mind, but also with accessibility code from the beginning, than to do something crappy and to have to fix it. So it's, yeah, same story all over again.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, you're right. We wouldn't have to talk about these and fight for these things if we were already naturally doing them. I want to jump on some of the comments from the chat room. Hello, Elliot says, I'm here for the snark. I hope you will add to the snark. Carl says, trends and predictions. Will AR and VR finally be a thing? Or is 2D UI so efficient for information and video so good for emotional content that the internet will never be 3D immersive? Is content 3 worse than just HTML? Steph, any opinions on that about AR, VR, and the whole 3D
uh,
immersive thing?
okay, there's a lot of mix. So VR is virtual reality, is when you need those helmets, right? So you're completely immersed. And I see there's a lot of super interesting opportunities for those in education, in video gamings, maybe in movies. And I would totally love to have kind of maybe concerts, for instance, sell a ticket in VR where you would be able to just be like front row next to the singer or something like that in VR, that would be a super amazing experience. But I'm not sure that websites are consumed in VR. There's browsers. I don't remember the name, but I know Eric Meyer is working for one of those. So there's apparently a way to have a browser in your helmet. So it does exist, but I'm not really sure. Also, I'm one of the person who gets sick with parallax scrolling and a lot of video games. So I'm definitely not the right person to enjoy VR. So that's for the VR. AR is augmented. So you use your phone, your camera, you point it somewhere, and then you see things appear on top of whatever's around you. Example is a game Pokemon Go. You can see the Pokemon, so you can either see them on a green screen, or you can see them really in the environment. So here again, I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities, especially since for AR, at least, it's supported in browser as well. You can have AR kit for, if I'm not mistaken, there's two different technology for iOS and Android, but you can have AR models directly in a browser. So if you go on Apple's website every year, you have a new iPhone 3, and now they have this cool toy where you click and you can see the new iPhone in AR. So you can kind of see a little bit what it looks like. So that's really, really fun. And again, retail, but also I think hotel could have AR stuff helping you find your room. Airports, I could totally see an airport with an AR app, or maybe just a website to help you find your gate, something like that. So, and I'm teaching this kind of stuff, so this is also why I have a lot of ideas of things you could do in AR. So yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things. I think AR is more accessible to people than VR, because AR, you just need your phone. VR, you need the whole helmet, and it's quite expensive. So I don't know if it's a trend. I've seen some experiments when I was the last time Google I/O was face to face. We had a lot of experiments where you could like point at a coffee machine. You could have more information on the parts, but you could also have some information about how to repair some of the parts. So I think that's another really cool idea. If we keep on talking about sustainability, there's one thing about being able to repair your own devices. And again, for AR, this could be a lot of really cool, how do you say that, use cases. So I don't know if it's finally going to take off, but I can see a lot of examples. But yeah, for now, I haven't seen something groundbreaking making its way through the public, except for VR video games. But that's still a niche, I think.
I first saw AR in 2012 when I was contracting at Sony Mobile. So, whenever people are like, whoa,
Mm.
AR is so new and hot, and look, you could point a camera at a thing, I keep thinking, like, I saw that 10 years ago. And, it's still being so minimally used. So I feel like it's not quite a trend yet. It always seems to be something that's coming in the future. But let me flip back to our window and we can continue with some of that stuff. Let's see. We've got another trend: cultivate an ethical digital landscape. Once again, I don't know why we're acting like accessibility or inclusion or ethics is some sort of trend that's going to come this year. And I am personally so sick of seeing people acting like this is the year when Facebook is finally going to have to get ethical. I've been hearing that for
Yay!
since 2008. I gave up in 2008. I don't believe it anymore. I don't know why people do. So, Stephanie, your thoughts on ethics as a hot trend for this year, and Facebook is finally going to care about society.
Same as accessibility, it should not be a trend. Ethics should be part of a designer's job at some point.
That's right.
You need to think about what you design and put in the world. But at the same time, sometimes it's complicated, because I honestly can't blame the people who work for Facebook, because I don't know, maybe they need a job, maybe they didn't find anything else, they need the money. So everyone who's like, yeah, if you work for Facebook, you should quit your jobs. Like, at some point, this is a little bit of a radical situation. So yeah, but I really hope it gets better, and I doubt that, to be honest.
Same
I
here.
just feel like it's getting worse every year.
I
The
agree.
things.
It is getting worse, and it's amazing that every year someone predicts ethics, and usually ethics specifically for Facebook, and it never happens. So moving on. This same article, we're still on the same article. We'll go to the next one soon. Says again, Principle 4 for 2012: strong stakeholder relationships. Stephanie.
Should be the default stuff to do again.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah, that's kind of the default way to go for our jobs. If you don't user experience is about user need, but it's also about making sure that you are able to have those user needs match the stakeholder. I wouldn't say needs, but at some point someone has to make money as well. So it's always kind of finding the balance. And if you don't have a relationship with the stakeholders, how are you going to understand what do they expect from you as well? So yeah, default
Yeah.
one. I'm not
Right.
snarky. Sorry.
Yeah, this is all right. These aren't
This is why we
principles.
need Ben.
Yeah, right. Ben or Madalena, she's in the chat room. She says she's waiting for an Everybody's a Designer prediction article. We don't have one today, I don't think, but if you want to join our Slack universe over in the oh my God, Bad CX channel of our Slack workspace, which is totally free to join. You can find a link from deltacx.com/links. We are talking about Jared Spool's new webinar, which I'll be saying something about tomorrow on LinkedIn. I've got a post queued to go where Jared Spool is absolutely once again destroying the entire UX profession with his Everybody's a Designer, now expanded to Everybody's a Researcher. Oh, Carl says, yeah, today my CEO sent me an email to discuss colors and fonts. I'm the head of UX.
That's not a relationship. That's an issue of roles and responsibilities, I think. And I think like every relationship, you need to set boundaries as well. Otherwise, yeah, you're going to get eaten. It depends. I often have that when I start a relationship with a client, to be honest. I have developer who will challenge every pixel on the screen because they're convinced that I haven't already tried to put the button in 100 different areas. So I'm usually like, okay, I don't mind having to justify every pixel on the screen during the first meeting, the second, but at some point, the good thing is they know that after 3 or 4 meetings of them saying, did you try that? And me replying, yeah, I tried that. It doesn't work because this, and this.
Right.
They know that, yeah, there's a good chance I might have
already
a
thought of that.
justification. So yeah, so it gets better. But yeah, when you start your new relationship with a new team, new stakeholders, new developers, and you don't know a little bit of how everyone is working, it can be a little bit tricky.
Yes, yes. I'm going to skip to the next article that you found. This one is on UX Planet on Medium, and it says top 9 UX trends to watch out in 2022. So let's scroll down, and the first one is passwordless login, which I don't think of as a trend. I'm pretty sure that's becoming part of WCAG.
I haven't checked that.
I think Sherry Byrne-Haber told me that coming later this year as part of WCAG, I think you're supposed to have a passwordless login. I could Google that, but it might be in 2.2. So I don't think of that as a trend. I think of that as an accessibility mandate.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's complicated. I saw some Twitter threads on people explaining how some users have issues not having any password because on the perception of security. And the whole thing about sending an email to the people can be an issue when those people don't have access to their emails all the time. So I'm not sure how that might happen, but I could imagine some kind of areas like if you're working on a computer where it's not your work computer and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting, but there's also some warnings around that. But I like the trend, honestly. I hate when I have to type twice the same password, especially on Montvile. I'm like, just have this little eye and I'm going to just like check it's the right one and that's it.
Agreed.
Bye. Don't make me type the same thing twice.
No, especially since
characters
I was going to say, especially my passwords are all super long and I'm going to mess them up when I try to type it twice on a phone. You're totally right.
I copy paste them from Password Manager.
Yeah, I have a password manager too. So this says scrolly telling, which is obviously a, what do we call it, portmanteau of scroll and storytelling. And I'll read it out loud for people. It says, scrolling is an interaction of the past. Oh, I guess we're not scrolling anymore. Apps and websites are rapidly moving towards the idea of scrolly telling. In this experience, the user sees each element on the page come to life through micro interactions and creative storytelling through the action of scrolling down. No clicks, no hassle of choice, and no pop-ups. So what? No, there's no actions people can take? Users are no longer interested in seeing a long page filled with information. They want to be part of the narrative, like in a video game. Scrolly telling does this by providing a more immersive way to engage users. This interaction requires designers to not only create cool visuals, but to also think of the story we want to share, its plot, and the people we're telling it to. So, Stephanie, this kind of reminds me of parallax and other things people are doing on websites where
Yeah.
as you scroll, things fade in or animate in. This doesn't seem, number one, new. And this doesn't necessarily
No,
make me feel part of a story just because a page has some animations. What's your take?
I don't understand. Scrolling is an interaction of the past. Da, 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 da. You do everything through the action of scrolling down.
Right.
So do we scroll or not? So
That's
yeah, I'm
right.
confused. But I think it can be cool and fun to do really immersive stuff if you have a point to that. Like I could see a website for an event, something really high level marketing or something like that. But the issue with a super immersive experience is again, you assume your user has the time to experience this immersive thing. So
That's a good point.
maybe there's some areas where it could be super interesting again, like marketing website and stuff. But I work in enterprise UX.
Right.
Oh,
Help
you
me
know
do
what?
this
We're gonna make a
efficiently.
super long page. We are gonna scroll, and
I've
it will
got
be
a
an
story
experience
to
of
tell you.
all this.
This
the
it,
sto-
it reminds me
there's
of
stories.
yeah. I'm sorry. It reminds me of
The-
websites here in Italy. Very often, if you try to, like, let's say I go to a restaurant website and I just want to know what time these people are open or if I need a reservation, and you get to the website and they don't have their hours and they don't have any information about websites, but they have all kinds of long pages about the story of our restaurant. And I'm always like, I don't even care. What time do you open? And it's just pages and pages of the history. We decided to open this restaurant when grandma shared the recipe for her sauce. I don't care about your storytelling. What time do you open? So I think it's not just enterprise UX. I think many of us want efficiency. And this just kind of reminds me of like the new Flash. Like, is this just a new way to
yeah.
have websites? Now that Flash is gone, we're like pseudo bringing it back. Oh, Elliot
Mm.
has a good
But,
question. Elliot
mm,
says, what if the user is looking for specific information but has to go through the story first? And Alpha says, are these even
yeah.
accessible?
They could be. Honestly, you can make anything accessible with the right code and the right amount of time. And so you could, if you have videos, you need to have some subtitles. So there's a lot of things you can do. So I don't see this as an accessibility issue, more as a might be a waste of time for a lot of people issue. And
Right.
so I could still see some super highly as an experiment. I share a lot of websites that are just like I found this one. I think it's going to be shared tomorrow, which is drawings of minerals in the 18th century, and it's just like beautiful drawings of minerals. And you just here for the eye candy, and maybe a little bit the story. So if you have some kind of experimental website like that, like yeah, maybe that could work. But the 90% of websites where people just want to go find the edition and go away. So
Right.
yeah,
Task analysis.
it
What are
sounds
people
like
here to do?
yeah, visual designer being frustrated that everything looks the same, who wants to bring Flash or something very visual back. Which again, I love when it's very kind of an experiment, but not if I have to go through to find a restaurant or something like that.
Right. Here they're saying, finally, we are going to be gesturing over our phones.
Accessibility issues.
Yes,
All the
also,
way.
yes, right. Yes.
And also, how did you teach those? Like,
Right.
we
How
already
are they
have.
discoverable?
Yeah, it might be super complicated. So again, I like this idea as experiments, but I'm not sure this is going to be a trend that you can use on a lot of websites.
Yeah, and my thought is also a lot of people, especially iPhone users, tend to hold their phones with two hands so that they can type with their thumbs.
Mm.
So, which hand does that leave to start waving at your phone? And will this work
Mm,
equally for left handed and right handed people?
you need kind of a enough depth of field if you want this to work. Like I remember we used to play Just Dance on play Xbox, and you were like I'm just trying to click the. Come on, I'm trying to click the button. You, and it's like, yeah, we made an immersive experience. No, you don't need the controller. We could not use the controller. They like, you have to use the gesture. So in the new version, they stopped that. You can still use the controller, but you're like, come on, I want to click this button. It's like, where do I need to go in the room? I was like, so already super frustrated with the web. So I don't know how this is not going to be frustrating fun. But I would be
Um,
curious to see a demo. But
yeah, of
nah.
course. And I want to see a demo with a left handed person because that's roughly 10% of people, and we have to stop leaving them behind.
Mm.
Okay, the number 4 for top UX trends is material design, which has been around for some time, and designing for larger screens. And the image they're showing on the screen are of some of these new foldable Android phones that, of course, are smaller sizes or twice the size of a phone because they fold out.
Mm.
So this doesn't feel very new to me because many of us have had to design for tablets, which are the size of some of these foldable
Yeah.
phones when you fold them open. So this doesn't feel new to me. But Steph, what's your take on some of these foldable phones and screens?
I was watching Bulgasal, something like that. It's a Korean TV show. And the lady has a really, really cool flip phone. I was like, oh, this is so nice because I always like drop my phone. I'm afraid of scratching the screen. It's like, oh, I need one of those. And then I saw the price. I was like, no,
Oh, the
no,
price?
I'm
Yeah, it's
fine.
like
Yeah.
almost 2,000 euros,
So,
I think.
yeah. So I think it's a fun trend. It's a fun challenge. But again, how many people have some of those foldable phones? They're super expensive.
Right. Yeah, that's
So
true too.
yeah,
That's
it's
going to be
a
a small
really
niche
niche
audience. Yeah.
trend. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
I
love
mean,
those. Like for video games, it's awesome. But yeah, not a lot of people will have this.
oh my God, Stephanie, this says advanced personalization. I've been seeing that as a trend since 2000. I've been seeing for 22 years. We're finally going to personalize things for you. We finally know what you need and what you're interested in. We're going to write your name on the screen. Stephanie, this is what we think you like. Whoa, Stephanie, this is 22 years old, in my opinion. What do you make of this personalization?
I love how they quote Amazon, which is the worst example possible. Like, hi, you bought a fridge. Do you want another fridge with this
I love
fridge?
that. Yes, we
I was
bought a
like,
kitchen sink. We literally bought the kitchen sink on Amazon. And for weeks it was like, do you want another kitchen sink? And I was like, how many kitchen sinks do people normally buy?
I don't know. Maybe the kitchen sink is lonely.
Yeah,
Something like that.
thank you.
I I never bought clothes on Amazon, and for whatever reason, Amazon for like uh, a month, I think, tried to push Gummistiefeln, rubber boots, like the
Oh,
stuff you
yeah.
wear when it's rainy outside. So I had yellow, then blue, then green. I have a few screenshots of those. Like every 2 days, I was like, "Hey, you sure you don't want to have the pink one?" I was like, what the hell? Am I in a Target audience where they're like, she's a lady, she's in Luxembourg, it's quite rainy. Yeah, let's push those boots or something. I don't know what I clicked on. I keep the push notification on Amazon so that I have a bad example for my students. That's kind of the only reason. But so personalization, I think it's a good thing, especially in a lot of areas. Like again, I work with users with very different needs. So having them being able to personalize their own interface can be super interesting, but it's not a trend. Like, wasn't MSN? No, what was the old thing? Like, I think it was MSN where you could customize almost everything on the homepage and stuff like that. But here it says advanced with emotion and sensory design.
Oh, yeah.
So
Buzzwords,
I'm gonna need.
buzzwords.
I don't know what's a sensory design.
I don't
To
know
be
what that
honest, is this
means
something
either.
that you can? Are we designing with smells? Because this would be
Yes.
super interesting. Like
I'm
if you
going, yeah,
start thinking
hashtag
about
empathy.
smells and stuff.
Yeah, here's
But
another
yeah,
thing I've been saying
so
for 22 years. Whenever people bring up personalization, I say, remember, personalization is not lazy buckets. I don't know about you, Steph, but I cannot tell you the amount of crap I get from websites and emails and mailing lists and businesses that assume because I'm a woman of a certain age, I'm now 50, that I must have college age children or adult children, maybe even grandchildren, and I get happy Mother's Day. And those of you who know me know that I purposefully didn't have children and I have 5 dogs, and it makes no sense to send me things that assume that I have children or periods or like all the, it's like so lazy to just assume, well, Debbie's a woman of a certain age, so she must want this. Everybody, that is not personalization. That to me is lazy and it's stereotyping.
no, I like that at some point Google was considering me as a 25 years old male.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, video games, and shitty browsing habits. So I don't know. I'm too much interested in tech and video games apparently for Google. So it was fun to get a really funny advertisement sometimes. Like, yeah, I like video games, but come on, at some point.
Well, that was like, I should roll back. That was like at one point, Amazon spent a week recommending vaping pens to me. And again, those who know me know I've never smoked anything in my life, and I mean anything. And I was like, how on this green earth am I being sent vaping pens? And finally I realized it was, I had bought a spare battery for a headlamp that I have, and the same
Ah.
battery that goes in the headlamp goes in vaping pens. And even though Amazon sold me the headlamp and could have put 2 and 2 together, they decided I was a vapor.
Yeah, there's this old story where they say that with your credit card and the cards that you get in retail, they're able to predict if a woman is pregnant even before she knows it
Oh,
herself. So
right.
I don't know if it's an urban myth or what, but there's this story of the brand who would send diaper and stuff, advertisement around diaper and stuff to I think it was 15 or 16 years old daughter of someone, and the guy went there. I was like, what the hell, why are you sending this kind of stuff to my daughter? And she didn't know she was pregnant, but based on her habits, they were able to predict
I
it.
remember that. That was a
And
thing.
I have a friend, yeah, and I have a friend in Luxembourg, and they are lactose intolerant, so they never buy any dairy products. And they do their shopping online, and the online shopping stuff tries to be nice. So last time they got some super really nice chocolate milk. So a lot of milk in the chocolate, and this time they also got, I think, like chocolate cookies with, again, a lot of milk in those. I was like, I thought we were able to predict pregnant women. Why don't those people understand my friend doesn't can't digest milk? It's like,
Right.
come on, you're really bad at predictions. So
Yeah, really bad at
nah.
personalization. Thank you very much to someone who is showing up in YouTube as Superior Iron Man. And I'm not too sure who you are, but you sound superior. And you chatted $20. Thank you so much. And you're saying sorry for being late, but I don't think of you as late, especially because I'm not sure who you are. Stéphanie, I'm going to blow by number 6 here because once again, they're saying inclusive design is a trend. AI is a trend. Remote is a trend, everybody. Good news. After a 2+ year pandemic, virtual collaboration is finally going to be a trend. Steph, your thoughts on this amazing, groundbreaking news?
I don't want this to be a trend. I want this to be the new normal.
I
So
agree.
please don't, because trend go come and go. I don't want this to go.
Yes.
Please.
A trend is going to be responding to the metaverse. I'd like to be left out of that trend. Anything you would like to respond to the metaverse, Steph?
Mm, when I was a student, I had a teaching class on Second Life. And when I
Oh,
say
yes, I
on
used to be
Second
there.
Life, I didn't have a class on what was Second Life. I had a class on database model, and we had to go in on Second Life to have this class. So we had our really cool avatar, and instead of having the teacher share the screen, we were in this fake virtual forum, and we were trying to put the avatar in a way that you could see the fake little stuff like move your avatar, move your ass. I can see this. It was the worst, horrible teaching experience ever. I'm like, why? Why do we use that to teach? Just share your screen, put your voice on, and that's it. And that was like 12 years ago. So, yeah, I don't know what they expect, to be honest. Well, yeah, I know what they expect. Earth is burning and we need a place to escape. So, for me, it's basically that. I'm not a big fan, to be honest, of metaverse. I think there's really fun stuff to do, but it's again kind of a rich people problem, and the whole thing with VR headset, it's super expensive, and I've already seen abuses and trigger warning, women being groped in the metaverse, and Facebook's answer was, yeah, but why didn't she activate the shield feature?
Oh, yes,
Maybe
that's
because she
right.
didn't know. Yeah, it's like maybe she didn't know this existed, and also why is it not activated by default?
That's a great
It's like,
question.
again, it's up to the user to shield themselves from shitty other human beings in a virtual universe. So I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. I spend
Pass.
enough time on internet. When I play video game, I almost never use voice because I know what's gonna happen.
Right.
So metaverse and stuff, man.
I'd like everyone to turn to this next one. This is Thriving in 2022 Five Essential Trends for Designers and Businesses. Let's see. Superior Iron Man says, I'm Tony. I updated my profile because Tom Cruise is going to be the Superior Iron Man in the next. Yes, I heard he might be an alternate Doctor Strange. Well, hello, Tony. Thank you for joining, and thank you for
Ooh.
the super chat. Always appreciated. I will buy some delicious cheese. Okay, so the five trends that this group is suggesting, trends, everybody, the realization of new sobering realities. Staying relevant is becoming increasingly hard. New measurements of creativity. No code revolution is taking shape. And omni wellness going mainstream. Stephanie, before we even try to understand these, can you tell what any of these are by those headlines or teasers?
New sobering reality. It sounds a little bit depressing. Like,
Yes,
okay, I'm super cheerful because I'm a little bit drunk, and now reality hits me in the face. I think something like that. So this is a little bit, yeah, weird and depressing. Uh, new sobering
let's see. They're
realities.
claiming, let me
Change the
zoom
world.
in on this a little bit. So they're claiming designers often aspire to change the world for the better and seek a deeper connection to their work. Unfortunately, last year delivered new harsh realities as rising pressure and hard capitalism led to sobering reflections. Is this a trend or is this a self help group?
My issue is with that is the harsh reality a lot of people discovered last year was already a harsh reality for a lot of people. It's just that no one cared about that before,
That's
and
true.
that the pandemic just made things worse for people with who were already in a very bad and precarious situation. So I'm like, yes, maybe it's new reality for you, but a lot of people were already aware of this kind of stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah, they're saying here's what it means for designers. Number 1, seek the purpose connection more. Look at this terrible color contrast.
I can't read it.
I can barely read
I'm
it
gonna
either, and I'm
zoom.
on a 50-inch television. Number 2, accept that having business acumen is a must. Number 3, keep the true passions alive to boost creativity. And number 4, prioritize well being to get an edge. I don't prioritize well being to get an edge, I prioritize well being to get well being.
Mm.
Yeah, the chat
Yeah.
room says they can't read it either. So, not too sure what to do with that. What does it mean for businesses? Genuine purpose is not optional. Put the employee experience to the forefront. Share the big picture to address the purpose gap and reflect on an organization's impact on the world more. I can tell you from the work that I do consulting inside of businesses, only taking action around number 2 is actually going to do anything. The rest are going to sound like empty promises to people.
Yeah. And
Let's
put the
see.
employee experience would be maybe keep remote for a
Yeah,
lot of
thank you.
people. Like again, I'm just amazed that everyone now wants everyone to be back in the office, and
I
it's
know.
like a lot of my friends, they're all shouting, but we were more productive. Like we
Yes.
had manager praise us on how productive we were. So I don't know if it's kind of productive because they did a lot of hours, because they didn't have a lot of other things to do, which is not good, obviously, or if it's just that due to not that many distractions, they were more productive and stuff. But I'm like, why do you want people to come back to the office to be less productive then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't get it
really
either.
strange.
This was from Trend 3, new measurements of creativity. You will be unsurprised to see that they're using NFTs as a measurement of creativity.
Ouch.
Yeah, F that. Let's get to the no code. Everyone in the chat room wants to know what they are saying about no
Ah.
code. No code revolution is taking shape. We have seen the democratization process for music production, publishing, or movie production during the last years with stunning results. Now it seems it's time for the software development. And even though the low code and no code idea is not new at all, in 2021 it accelerated drastically and established the foundation
Mm.
for a new generation of makers. What was the
That I
go
can
ahead.
understand, at least. I've seen a lot of people play around with Webflow those days. You remember the guy who said Axure is dead and Figma is dead for prototyping. We need to prototype in Webflow. And Webflow, I think, is one of those no-code tools. And I was talking to a lot of other designers and UX designers, and they said they use a lot of no-code platforms to do prototyping. So I think it can be interesting. Honestly, I haven't used. For me, Axure is already no code,
I was going
but
to
it's
say,
more
isn't
like
Axure a no code prototyping system?
yeah. But those platforms are actually creating HTML and CSS, where Axure creates the HTML and CSS, but the learning curve, it's a little bit complicated. Figma doesn't. It's a little bit more complicated. So I could understand kind of the appeal of having a website where you just like move around blocks and you can put around prototype really really quickly, but
Yeah, it's
again
called
it's really
WordPress.
specific. Yeah, that too, actually, with the blocks and all.
Yeah.
So I can understand the appeal of no code tools. I've also seen some stuff around you can build an Excel sheet, not an Excel sheet, a Google sheet, for instance, and you plug that to a no code tool that builds an app. And I could totally see that if I wanted to do a user diary, for instance, because then you would use the kind of the sheet as a place to gather the feedback, and I would build this kind of no code app. It's a web app, so people can go there, you give them the link, and then you have your whole user diary, and it's kind of really nicely done if they need to upload pictures. So I think, yeah, the no code stuff can bring a lot of really really cool tools to UX designers, but I don't think it's a new trend. It has been around for quite a lot of time now, so still I like it. I think it's as a prototyping tool, but again, it depends how complex you need your prototypes to be.
Right. And so we'll put up, it depends. Let's move on. We've got 15 minutes left and we should hit a couple of these crappy UI trends as well. So this is Designmodo.com with their 2022 trends. And you know I've opened up their 2021 trends to see if they happened or if anyone cared. Hey, Stephanie, their first trend is fun and optimistic designs.
It sounds like a reaction to all the gloom and stuff. Like Dadaism was a reaction to World War II or something. So I can understand why we need more funds. Is this 2020 or 2022?
This is the 2022. It's pinned to the top. This is the 2022 trend. It says, what did it say? The first one was fun, optimistic designs, but I think you're all going to love their second trend. Ready? Black and white color schemes. So good news, everybody. In 2022, everything is trending. Black and white and fun and color. No one will be untrendy.
Yay! I like black and white, so I'm fine with that. But
oh, Madalena
I think you
says
can do a lot of things.
Sorry, quickly. Madalena said that in the previous page, I scrolled past something that says designers need to improve their communication with engineers, but that doesn't say the other way around. It's never the other way around. And Festus says no code has been around for ages. It's just startups jumping on it. For basic applications, it can save orgs a lot of time.
Can I be snarky now?
Please, jump in.
Dear Madeleine, you know that communication is a soft skill and only UX designers have soft skills. Like developers, they don't need soft skills. They do the whole hard, heavy lifting of code. So, and this is obviously sarcasm.
Hug them and make them a cup of tea.
I hate that communication is a soft skill. For me, it's a really hard to master skill and it should be the skill for everyone. But I get a feeling that a lot of developers just can get on with being bad at communication and everyone will be like, yeah, you know, they're a geek, they're a developer. That's why it's like, yeah, I'm a geek too. I'm an introvert. Am I allowed to be bad at communication? No, I don't. I'm not. So because I'm a designer.
You're the creative designer. Yeah. You're the one who's got to do this. I like what Alpha says in the chat room. Fun, optimistic designs. Wow, what am I supposed to look at first? And I scrolled back up to this one because I think I see three levels of navigation here. Multiple things you can click on, 2 calls to action. I wonder if these things are clickable, and then you've got feedback off to the side. So, yay, another Flash style explosion of stuff.
I'm not even sure how is this an example of fun?
That was the example of fun.
The thing is the really strange smile of that person.
Yeah, what is that like, even?
It's forced to slur.
Now this trend is bold and experimental typography. I don't want your typography to be too experimental. I still want dyslexic people to read it. Bold and experimental typography. Stephanie, your thoughts?
I'm biased. I love typography.
Me too. I don't know why this is experimental. This is just good typography.
I'm glad we get to play around with a lot of typography. But again, my issue with that is you have this big screen with one piece of information, and then you have to scroll and scroll and scroll around to get more. So,
yeah, did anyone see the
trends?
The Interaction 22, I just spoke at the Interaction 22 conference, and I thought the font was overwhelming. Look at this.
I don't like those types, which is like squishy, and then it's stretched, but oof, bye. You lost me.
Yeah, I thought this was hard to read, and I understand that it's cool and it's interesting and it looks interactive and maybe it wins a 2022 trend award, but I thought it was a little hard and confusing to read, and you know, that's
I can't even look at the screen when you're scrolling. That's the level of motion sickness.
Okay, I'll go back. So, sorry, I do not want you to have motion sickness. Fine.
But just like I don't know, maybe they implemented a way where you can turn it off. You have a media query in CSS, and you can say if the users has the little box that says prefers reduced motion checked, then you can remove the animation. So I hope they implemented that. Otherwise, yeah, it might be really triggering for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a
Meh.
good point. Sorry about my dog barking. Oh, Madalena says it looks like your monitor broke and it's got blobs of random color on it. Yeah, remember when you put a magnet too close to your TV? There's always that. This one says oversized pointers, but it says you would have to click through. You'd have to click through to the site to see it. I'm not sure I
I
want
hate
that.
those.
3D design
Also,
effects. Yeah.
it has those are not 2020 trends. I'm sorry. Those oversized pointer, they've been here for the last 2 years at least. So old. Bye.
Let's see.
Next.
3D effects with shadows, animations, and layer effects. That also doesn't sound very new to me.
Mm. Again, this is the kind of stuff that can be interesting if you have the right context, like immersive experience to explain something. Most of the time, I love those in infographics, especially because in infographics, they're not overwhelming. The good thing with the pandemic is that we had amazing infographics to explain really complicated concepts to the people. So
Right.
that's kind of a lot of newspaper played around with infographics. So I think there's a place for those kind of things, but I'm not sure that most common website will use those.
Here you go, Steph. They're saying it's also trendy. So we had trendy, fun, and animated, and 3D, and layered, and black and white, and now brutalism. I guess everything is in style this year. What isn't? What do you make of this, what they're calling almost brutalism?
I'm confused. Brutalism was 4 years ago. I stopped following, but so almost brutalism is brutalism, but not completely. I don't know.
I don't know. I think of brutalism as architecture, but I'm bad at design, as many people know.
Mm,
Festus says, I think these articles are recycled every year just to create traffic.
yes.
Scrolling text elements. Okay, I hope it's accessible.
No.
Oh no, here's a scrolling text
uh,
example. Oh, you're going to have to look away
wait,
from the screen. Oh, Steph, your
we
favorite,
killed the
glass
market.
morphism.
Yeah, but it was last year.
Yes, they're saying, oh,
Are you sure we're on the
it's
right year?
really hot
What's
now. Even
happening?
more gradients. They're saying more gradients are hot this year.
Ah, gradients, I'm
Homepages
okay.
without images.
That's
What
good for
isn't
the
in
environment,
style?
Debbie.
I'm confused, Steph. What isn't in style?
Accessibility based on a lot of
Evidently.
those websites. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Color
agree.
contrast. Yeah.
Wow. Let's see what these people thought
Wait,
last
wait, wait,
year's
wait, wait.
trends. Oh, what?
Split screen aesthetics, that was 5 years ago. I'm convinced of that because I know a friend has an agency and they recreated their own website to specifically follow that trend.
Mm.
It's worse than fashion. You know, in fashion, I don't remember what's the cycle, if it's 10 years that we recycle the same thing over and over. And I think in web design, it's every 2 years now.
Yeah. Oh,
Nah.
MegaFooters are going to be back in style. Put more crap in your footer. Great. Madalena
Ah,
points out
SEO, we
research
love that.
still isn't in style. So bad news.
But
Research still not in style.
the thing is, if you look at a lot of those examples, it's basically what we call vitrine in French. Like it's a really nice, I don't know how you call vitrine in English.
Pierre
Is
Mario
when you have a
vitrine
shop
in
and you
French?
have a few mannequin in front of the glass.
Glassy? What did you say? Pierre Mario is saying glassy?
Nah.
No. We
It's like
we
a
reject
front,
it.
but yeah,
Shop
it's
window?
basically when you go to, yeah, shop window, when you go to a store and you know they have this really nice front with a few mannequin and stuff. And I think a lot of those websites, they're way agency websites that have the same purpose, you know, like showcase that they can do cool stuff. So I kind of understand, but the issue I have with the trends is you're not gonna be able to apply most of those trends to any other website than your agency portfolio, basically. I wouldn't see kind of an e-commerce website with super big fonts. At
Right.
some point, people want content, people want the product and things. So it's again, it's kind of really niche. And but if you want to redesign your portfolio, maybe you can pick one of those trends and have fun with it. It could be a fun exercise, if you want to practice Figma, just go on that website, pick a trend, and try to recreate it. I think the brutalism might be easier.
Yeah.
You just
I'm
put
looking at
text.
their
But
last
yeah,
year's, their predictions for last
mm,
year were dark websites,
with the display, yeah.
experimental typefaces. So far, this is a repeat of this year's trend. So I think Festus is right. They are just repackaging this for
Mhm.
SEO. Designs without as many faces, so not without pictures of humans, but then they use this as an
Ah,
example, which has half of
yeah,
a
but
face.
the face.
So that's their example of not face. Text as homepage art. They had that in this year's as well, but named it
Mhm.
something else. Blur and noise grain, which looks pretty much like glass morphism to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think Festus is right. We're getting the same stuff each year. Oh, circles. Evidently, circles were in style last year, everybody. Let's jump to another one. We only have a few minutes left, and then we'll have to say goodbye to Steph until we meet again. These are 2022 UI design trends published on UX Collective. Um, let's see, minimalism and simplification, which looks like make your website look like apple.com.
Kind of, yes.
That's how I see it. Next, their trend says brutalism and return of the flat. Stephanie, thoughts?
I didn't know the flat went away, but okay.
Well, good news, it's
Maybe I
back.
didn't get the memo. I'm not on the designer's agenda. So, but then I'm confused because Gumroad, I know the website, and it doesn't follow the brutalism codes. It's pretty well structured anyway. So, meh.
Right,
It's a
I
little
agree with
bit
that.
strange.
You'll be unsurprised to hear that this year's trend will be glass morphism and glass inspired watercolor elements and aurora backgrounds, which I think Stripe
It's
has had
one
on their
year too
website for
late.
2 years. Right? Stripe, stripe.com.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was joking about if we are going round circle, I want aquamarine as a color to come back. You know
Oh,
those really big buttons that look like you were at the bottom of the sea, and the little gradients, and yeah, glossy buttons and aquamarine. I want those back just for the
emboss.
fun of
Remember,
it.
everything was embossed. It was supposed to look like a button that was
Yes,
raised up from your credit card. Yeah. Oh, they're saying
because CSS
holographic
border.
and neon styles will be in this year, but also eco-conscious cardboard styles.
Everything is in style.
I was just going to
That's
say
good.
that. All of these
You can't
websites are
go
telling
wrong.
us you can't go wrong. Everything is in style. Good
I
news,
love that.
everybody.
You just have to pick one.
Yes. Wild typography, which evidently means what? Not
Ooh.
using Helvetica?
No.
Superior Iron Man says glossy buttons and heavy drop shadows. Stephanie, do you want to talk a little bit before we go about claymorphism? I know you've got a real love in your life for
Uh,
claymorphism. I've got it up on the screen now.
I just don't understand. Ah, the, I had a really fun user comment. So we did a survey on the current interface, and we asked, it's a little bit biased, but we asked if they could improve it, what would they change? And everyone wanted to change stuff. There was one user who said, I wouldn't change nothing. The current interface is perfect. I hate all the new cartoonish UIs.
There you
I was
go.
like, the fuck? We're not doing cartoonish UI. And then when I see claymorphism, I'm like, okay, I could get a little bit what this user is trying to say, which is, yeah, it looks really childish, and I'm never going to use that on a
Yeah, I
corporate
feel that
website.
way too. I feel like if I were making something for kids or teens, this seems really fun. Or for some reason,
Mm,
I were making something where I wanted my number one vibe or mood to be fun, I might use this, but I can't imagine using this for a serious website like a university or an enterprise thing or look, it's a chunky 3D hand with lighting and a shadow.
Also, it takes a lot of space because you need to have extra paddings around that to really show the whole rounded borders and all the shadows and stuff. So if you want to have a condensed interface, it might be a little bit tricky for that as well.
That's a really good point. They're showing here that
Mm.
you're going to need a 48 pixel blur. 48 pixel blur on your drop shadow. And a
I don't have
16
that kind of
pixel
space.
inner blur.
Mm.
Okay, so Madalena says, I'm going to sum up. Number 1, I have no idea what some of those things mean. Number 2, do everything. There's nothing out of style. Number 3, you'll see all of this semi-garbage in 2023 predictions also.
Yeah. But it's always fun, those articles. But it's fun, but at the same time, I know some people follow those. Like when the whole was it glass morphism was out, I think. I know someone's head of asked them if they should redo the whole design system in glass morphism. It's like, why? It's gonna
Right.
be out of trend next year.
I
So
know.
my
I've
issue with that is
Go
if you
ahead.
follow a lot of those trends, you might have to redo your website every year or something like that. So maybe a more kind of trend agnostic approach to make sure that it's going to be a little bit more sustainable visually.
And that
That's
brings
the
us back to
problem. If you follow a strong
sustainability.
thing, yeah, but not as a sustainable website, more like as you will be able to use your visual identity in 3 or 4 years or something.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And I used to say that to clients all the time, especially when I was a little bit more on the web design side than the UX side, because they would always say, like,
Mm.
oh, background videos on homepages are hot. Should we do that? And I would say, I predict they're going to go out of style in 6 months or less when people realize the bandwidth they're taking and how people can't
Mm.
load it and how distracting they are because it's supposed to be a background, but you can't take your eyes off of it. Don't do it. And then it all happened. It would just constantly happen. Oh, it looks like the trend is parallax and having these things move on the page as people scroll. Should we redesign for that? And I'd say only if you want to pay me in 6 months to undo it.
Mm. Yeah. Then it's a business model if your client keep on paying you every 2 years to repaint the website because the trend changed.
Right. Good
I
point.
think it depends on the stakes. If you are a high level kind of not consulting agency or marketing agency, for instance, or if you're doing your visual agency, you need to have something that is going to set you apart. My problem with those trends is at some point is everyone is using the same stuff, and I'm pretty sure I can open any website on awards and those days and we'll see the same thing. Then at some point, what's gonna set you apart? So that's the complicated part. But then it's a cycle. Like some people then try to do something else, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this is amazing!" So now we are going to copy them, and then everyone has the same kind of agency website again. So it's yeah,
Yeah, I was looking
it's
some
a
months ago at some
never-ending
of the
thing.
websites of some of the biggest consulting firms on the planet, like Accenture, EY, KPMG,
Mm.
and it was just a lot of it was fairly brutal, and it was really surprisingly bland and unimaginative in my opinion. And so I was really surprised at how much they looked like each
Mm.
other and how unamazing those websites were. But maybe I'm just super
They don't.
picky.
They don't need it. That's also the thing. It's like if you're on Accenture, you'll always have clients. If you're a small agency in competition on call for tenders, or even like a lot of those have to participate in these kind of competition where they have to do free design to win the client, then you indeed you need an amazing website that has a lot of things moving around and stuff. Even if you're never gonna build something like that for a client, but at some point you need this kind of silly wow effect. And I kind of understand why we have those trends because yeah, you need to sell something at some point. I'm not sure
Yeah.
everyone should follow those for their own websites.
Yeah, agree. I know we're running out of time. We're 5 minutes late. So tell everybody, give us some closing words and tell everybody all the places they can follow you. I know you have a blog and a Twitter and an Instagram. Where can everybody find you and follow you?
Yeah, so I'm Walter Stephanie on Twitter because the other way around was not available. I think I'm Stephanie Walter Pro on LinkedIn because, again, a lot of people have the same name as I have. There's a German lady apparently writing some books that has almost the same name as mine. It's really fun to see what she writes. And stephaniewalter.design is my website, and I have a blog there. I have those weekly links where I put everything that I post on LinkedIn and Twitter. I have a review at the end of the week, mostly so that I can find my links back. I think I'm the number one user of my own search on my website, but yeah, it's quite convenient to have everything you shared on the internet in one place. So yay.
Yeah, Madalena says, follow Stephanie, y'all. Her content is fire.
Yeah.
We had a fire emoji go by just now.
Hence the hair.
Right, and fiery colored hair. And you can also find Stephanie in our Slack universe. So let me remind everybody that you can join our Slack. You can follow the link from deltacx.com/links. That'll answer all of your questions about the stream, like how do I ask questions? How do I join in this or that? How do I, what's your calendar of events? What's coming up? And speaking of calendar events, everybody, I will be adding to the calendar of events, if I haven't already, I'm going to be doing a full one-day workshop on April 6th. And I will put up on the screen how you can sign up for it. And this is going to be my new one-day workshop on transforming toward customer centricity. And I have priced it really, really low, and it's going to be a full day. And I'm going to be teaching people, especially managers and leaders and people who can make some change, how do we get our companies to be more customer centric and user obsessed? But anybody at any level can come. So please do sign up for my full day, surprisingly inexpensive workshop. And follow Stephanie. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming. I know we will have you back soon. And if not, we'll see you in the chat room. And everybody be well. And I will see you tomorrow for Reaction Stream. Bye. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are